Hello and welcome to Chapman's Corner, where today you're joining me on board my Jedi F1000 single-seater race car here at the UK circuit, famous Brands Hatch. This is the only half the layout, the Indy layout, which is a shame because I would love to do the GP layout. But here you're joining me on board this race as I battle 15 other cars around this exciting and undulating circuit. This is an extra exciting race because there is a crash on the third lap, so you're going to get 2 race starts as we restart on the third lap. So this is the first race start, red lights are on, people are creeping, but we're off. Good start, quite a bit of wheel spin, but we get a good launch. We get past Wayne there on the left, we're creeping up, looking up the inside of... and we make it round turn 1. Wayne shows his face up the left side. We're actually braking on the wet part of the circuit, so it's not ideal. Can't really show our face up the inside of Eric there, but we managed to go down the right side. But because it's a left-hander, there's nothing we're going to be able to really do. So we brake early and try and get a switchback going, but we're completely blocked and there's nowhere to go. Braking later, getting up close, obviously got the powder kicking up, which makes it really interesting. Not a huge amount of traction out the final corner, but getting into Eric's slipstream, there's a yellow flag waving, and we're obviously not allowed to overtake here. We have to wait till the green flag at turn 1 here on the left before we're able to overtake. So we definitely lost an advantage that we thought we had on that straight. Having a look up the inside of Eric there, we really should have kept the throttle pinned and forced him to brake there. If we had pushed ourselves wider, we would have had him into this corner definitely, so real shame there. So as we try to go up the inside, he moves across, defends well, there's nowhere really where for me to go. I've lost the drive, so I won't be able to keep up the inside going into Surtees. So of course we know that we're going to have a good run on the main straight here, especially with how close we are, so we're just getting into a slipstream. Now I think Eric lifts here because he thinks the yellow flag is going to be there again for the second lap, but there wasn't, so we managed to get him into turn 1. Now he is coming back at us, so that's why we're in the middle of the circuit, but as we brake, if you look at the rear view camera, unfortunately someone spins and goes off pretty hard into the wall. So skipping ahead, as you can see on the left there, some tyres, an exhaust, a lot of things, a lot of debris on the track. So of course the race is red flag and we're brought onto the main starting straight here, which is the first time I've had this in a race, quite interesting. So we're pulled over to the side and this is where the marshals tell us that the race is going to be restarted, a standing start from the positions that we finished that first stint in. So I've now gone from P9 to now starting P7, 2 places gained. Fairly decent launch, quite a lot of wheel spin again. Ryan behind me gets an incredible launch and goes around the outside. Really squeezed through that gap there, but the grass comes in, nowhere to go with James in front of me. Eric looking around the outside. We could be in trouble here if Ryan slows a lot, but Eric doesn't pin it round the outside. Dealing with a bit of an oversteer on the way out, but of course Eric's just held on around the outside, which means he's got the inside for turn 3 and we've got nowhere to go. And we make a lovely late lunge on the final corner on the inside of Eric there. Now he is coming back slightly, but we've got a really good drive on the main straight. Turned in slightly early, so took quite a lot of curb there, which is ideal. Very big curbs here at Brands Hatch. Now the driver in front of me, Ryan Thomas, is my teammate. After we make a bit of a mistake going around that final corner there, he does gap us going onto the straight, and in front of him is Kaylee. had some good battles with both these drivers over the last 2 seasons, and now we're just doing our best to catch up with them and try and overtake them. Downhill braking zone, good track usage there. Using plenty of the track runoff, but not too much. Carrying a lot of speed, over 100 miles an hour through the S's. Miss the apex, but get on the throttle. Powering through, so we're much closer to Ryan now, and with the slipstream and slightly better engine power, we're gaining on him. I don't think we're going to have a chance to make the move, but we're in a good position to get him possibly on the final lap. Good track usage again. Ryan goes a little bit close to the gravel there. I'm sure that wasn't fun. Puts him a little bit offline, but he's really close to Kaylee, and I'm not far off either of them here. So I should be setting this up for the final corner of the main straight. But we've screwed up Graham Hill Bend, and we're quite far behind. We're really close here, so as you can see already, we're gaining on Ryan. We're just going to make an easy pass here by popping it out. I believe he was down slightly on engine power versus me, so he was doing very well to keep me behind him until that point. We take turn 1 pretty well there, following Kaylee into Druids. Now we have a look up the inside. She kind of came back across, so there wasn't really the room to go up. She defended that nicely. She's gapping us here on the inside straight between turns 3 and 4, but we know we're going to set it up for either a last corner lunge, which we do very late, and we get the move done. Let's come back round onto lap 6 here. You can see how blind turn 1 is, so you're coming back up and over, you're moving over to the left hand side, braking between the 2 and the 1, using as much of the track as you can. A lot of downhill there, so you're flat. There's a lot of compression through turn 1. Dealing with some oversteer there throughout Druids. On the downhill braking zone, you want to get as far right as possible. Brake, get the pivot, get it turned in, but not take too much of that inside curve because it is very large. As you can see, my left hand is on the gear shifter. It's a sequential gearbox, so pulling to go up the gears and pushing to go down the gears. Please ignore the tatty steering wheel. People keep reminding me I need a new one. But this is a new helmet, which I'm showing off in all its glory with that new reverse camera as well. So again, turn 1, staying as far left. When you touch that green, you want to turn in, not take any of that curb. Use as much of the exit curb as possible there without hitting track limits. All the grips on the inside here. Or no grip. So Brands Hatch is clearly a very short circuit when it's the Indy layout. Only 5 corners here. So it would seem like it's a boring and simple track, and whilst it's definitely not my favourite on the calendar, it does prove quite challenging because at the end of the day, there is no real break. You're still turning here, still turning here, still going up the gears one-handed. You're straight now, but then you're immediately having to move left. You're up and over a hill. You're then braking. Big turn in for one of the hardest corners on the calendar, really, in the UK. Huge amount of compression going through there. Big braking zones, quite a technical corner. Druids because it's quite a long, waiting, looping corner with no traction on the exit. Then you're going down the hill. Everyone wants to turn in too early here, take too much curb. And then through 30s here, which is a very big commit corner. You want to turn in a bit later than that, but it's a big curve that could throw you into a braking zone. You're going right-hander. Now the track drops away from you here. It's been resurfaced. There's a lot of gravel on the left. The grass comes in. It's very bumpy. So it is not an easy track to get right, as you can tell from my lap times, which are all over the place. And I'm still 2 seconds off the lap record here, so I'm not having a great drive, I'll be honest. And as you can see, we're going around the corner there, and that's my teammate Tom Westworth, who, according to him, has been bumped in the rear. Not in the fun way, but it spun him, and unfortunately couldn't get the car going again because he didn't drop the clutch and the starter motor went. So we are on our final lap here, coming around the final corner, onto our final lap, sorry. Now in the distance we've got a back marker, Davey at the back, who's been enjoying this season so far and driving well. As we're coming up behind him, we can see a yellow flag in the distance, so we're not going to make a move. This yellow flag is for Tom, who had spanned. He's now behind the barrier. Something in my drive shaft goes, so unfortunately for me, this is where my race ends, hence why I thought it was the final lap. So I've let the car roll off, pulled it off as best I could. Probably not the best location, as you can see from the tyre wall. Plenty of people going to the wall here, but it's the best I could do. So I'm out of the car now with a DNF. Unfortunate end to that race, but I hope you enjoyed the onboard, some of the racing. Definitely subscribe. Go check out my onboard playlist. There's plenty of other races here, like a Silverstone racing F3 cars, and we've got a wet race coming up. The race that came after this at Brands Hatch, which you do not want to miss.